Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the hairiest of them all? Ronnie Dale, fourwheelingwesternaustralia.com, and welcome to another video about post and pre-service checks. We've just returned from the Ambler Highway. We're going to discuss a lot of things and give you guys a lot of tips and hints. We're going to look at why we use sock filters on the Snorkel. We're going to look into air filters and talk about this mirror a bit. I smashed the mirror. We're also going to talk about how we fixed the mirror. We're going to cover a lot of things to give you guys some tips of what to look out for and just general discussion about things on the vehicle, how they went. So stay tuned. Now, it wasn't just my vehicle on this trip, it was also the PDP machine, Travs's vehicle. So we're going to compare a bit of footnotes of what it's like being at the back of the convoy, the different things that happen to your vehicle versus being at the front of the convoy. So there were some issues that I had that no one else had behind me, but everyone behind me had some issues that I didn't have. So to explain what I mean by that, me being at the front of the pack, we had spin effects on the track, spin effects to the sides, but because I was the vehicle at the front, and we were the first convoy to go down this track for 3 months, I believe. So all the seeds at the front, I copped all of them, nearly all the seeds. However, everyone behind me copped all the dust. So they had a lot more issues with their air filters and things like that, whereas my air filter was pretty much clean. So let's jump straight into air filters and why we use those socks. This is a Snorkel sock. There are many like it, but this one is a uni filter. They come pre-oiled. Excuse the noise in the background. So the reason why we put a sock filter on our vehicles when we're out in the bush is all the dust. This prevents the dust from going into the airbox. A lot of people say this restricts the airflow. Yeah, it probably does, and it will restrict the airflow to a certain degree. But here's the thing. Do you want the restriction to happen inside your airbox, or do you want it to happen before the airbox? So that's the choice you've got to make. Also, these do prevent leaves and all kinds of other crap going in, bugs, all that kind of stuff. Now, when we're talking off-road driving and you're driving, at lower speeds, 60 or less, it's not going to restrict your airflow that much. So this will prevent your filter or help slow down the process of blocking the filter inside the engine bay. It won't stop it, but it will slow it down, it will help prevent it. And if you carry a couple of these, you just take one off, put another one on, put a clean one on. Obviously when you get to the highway, take these off, because that's where you are going to notice the restriction of airflow. So another question that people ask me, being the lead vehicle, do I use a Snorkel sock? Yes, I do, because even though you're at the front, you still may pass traffic coming the other way. So for example, sometimes when you're heading towards a four-wheel drive track, you may be using an access road, a gravel road that's used for farming or mining or whatever. You are going to get traffic passing you. Also, when you stop your vehicle, the dust usually overtakes you, and that is when you can suck dust in. So I still use a Snorkel sock, even though I'm lead vehicle, but I'll take it off when I'm on the highway.
Let's have a look at your airbox, Ronnie. It's pretty clean in there.
Does this guy even go off-road?
We actually...
I think he goes at the back for a while.
Oh, he's got that before we left.
Oh,
there's a leaf in there.
Hang on, get out of the way. Oh, better get that out.
bloody the price tag's still in there.
I look after my stuff, mate.
That's Travis's car. This is what happens when you drive behind Ronnie.
Like 80,000 k's old?
Hey? Yeah.
It was like 80,000, mate.
Yeah, I checked my oil and everything yesterday as well. Let's clean that side, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's doing its job.
Beginning. That looks pretty good there.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Flip it over.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you do.
So it's definitely doing its job.
That's crusty.
Yeah, I think a bit of water came through the Snorkel yesterday.
When you hit that
Yeah.
bit of light speed.
That 4 metre wave you set up.
That looks pretty good there. Oh, it's got the foam on it.
Yeah, it's a genuine total.
Yeah. What's Torben got then?
Ryko, I think he said.
Oh, okay.
It's
What's the lock on the other side?
It's clean down there too, which is good.
Not bad.
Yeah, it got a bit dirty towards the end.
Did you go at the back?
No, just trucks
So
passing
that's,
by.
yeah. So that's fed well in the airbox. So you can see actually up, can you get that with the light? Yeah, it's quite.
Another tip here to note, clean the bottom of your airbox before you change your air filter or clean your air filter, because otherwise there's just more dirt that's going to jump straight onto it. Something a lot of people don't check with air filters is the bottom bung. Would you call it a bung?
Yeah, or the little water drain.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
And this is why you got to check it, folks. Look at all this rubbish here. That is not good. So we'll take it to the bench here. So the problem with all that gunk is it then forces this part open, and over time it gets to a point where this will always be open. Now the point of these is supposed to be like a one-way valve. So that's how the original one is. So when water is inside the engine bay, it's meant to clamp that up a bit.
Yeah, with the suction, like suction on the other side of the airbox.
So the suction,
Yeah, will sort of just pulls that together, and then as you got positive pressure of water, it'll open up, drain
Yeah.
out.
okay.
And you can see the reason I wanted to change this, see the shape of that? It's
Yeah.
deformed.
We have put gunk in it to try and
Well,
seal it up previously.
actually, that was when the snorkel was fitted, and obviously I've been checking it.
Yeah.
It was glued on, but obviously you can see, so
It's warped.
just precautionary, like make sure that
Yeah.
we've got an airtight airbox.
But
Watertight.
what I also like to mention though is we got, well, I asked you to get 2 of these for me, right?
Correct.
So we have 2. I'm going to do one that's sealed. So I'm going to seal it up completely, and that's for water crossings. We're going to do a bit of an experiment, and I'll have one that's sealed. So when I'm talking about water crossing, it's one of those really deep water crossings that might get sketchy, and we've got a fair bit to go. That's where I will pull this one out, and I'll put the sealed one in, because then water shouldn't come in.
I reckon I'd run the seal. I reckon run the seal all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, but I would keep it as a spare. And it's one thing actually, I've seen a few airboxes come into the shop over my time. That actually isn't on the bottom of the airbox.
Oh, so
Because
some
you
people come off.
look here, if you actually just a quick look, you're not going to notice it. It's actually here. Unless you put your hand under the airbox, to the untrained eye, I'll check my air cleaner.
Yeah, because it's just that little slit here.
I've had it before in the workshop where I've had an 80 series where it's the bottom of the little air swell, the little tin that's clipped on, that actually isn't even on the car. It's either come off, wasn't clipped on properly, and that could be a recipe for a disaster.
There you go. A lot of people worry about the snorkel more, but you know,
Yeah, all airtight to here, but this is actually one of the low points.
be aware of the bung on the bottom. It is a hot topic to some people. Like, there's arguments for sealed and there's arguments for leaving it like this, but I'd rather sealed because then nothing's going to come up from underneath.
Yeah.
However, if you smash into a puddle or your this doesn't seal properly, there's nowhere for the water to escape
Correct.
afterwards.
And then you run the risk of pulling if you've got a paper filter or what have
Yeah.
you, or any filter, pulling the water through the filter.
That's it, yeah. But you'll be surprised though, because a fully soaked filter, we've had one of those on a Holland track, one of our tag-alongs. It was a Ford Ranger, fully soaked air filter. We actually had to pull a whole air filter out. We had to dry it all out, and we even took out the pipe all the way down to the turbo. We took all that off too, and I had a rag inside the turbo trying to dry it out because we didn't want to hydraulic lock his vehicle, right? So after that, we had to put the soaked air filter back in, and I told the bloke, Aaron, whose car it was, I told him to take it easy, not like, not throttle up, not get the turbo spooling. And by the time we got to the next spot, which was like 20 minutes, half an hour later, we just nursed it there, without spooling the turbo too much. It was bone dry, and he was able to smack all the dust out of it. I'm going to ask Travs, or I'm going to ask you, how the hell you got this car so clean? I know the answer, but it'd just be good if they hear it from someone else.
Look, I put a lot of inox over it, like a lot, so it's sort of dripping off of everything.
You
Obviously,
caked it on, man.
The downside is everything does stick to it early on. However, when you come to clean it, there's that bit of film between
It
something.
just hoses off.
Yeah. So literally, that's what I did to start with.
But you didn't do the underside of your car?
No,
Yeah.
It's
See,
quite funny, actually. I did in the engine bay.
yeah, and I did the opposite. I didn't do the engine bay, which I normally do, and
Yeah.
I did all the underside of the car.
Yeah.
Because you had 5 litres of it, I was just like,
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think I put roughly almost 800 mils in the engine bay.
800, whoa, okay.
So a fair bit. I just went to town. Look, obviously for me, we use it as a bit of a display car.
Okay,
So I wanted to keep it clean.
So how did you clean the car? Did you use high pressure? Did you just use the hose?
There's one thing going high pressure in the engine. If you want to be a fair way away. So by the time the pressure comes out, I'm talking from me to you, away with the head. So when it comes out, it's more just a mist of water.
It's just a mist, yeah.
Look, everything's watertight in the engine bay. You do a water crossing as well, remember. Fresh water is going to be better than any other water crossing you're doing.
Yeah.
I just hosed it down originally, and then just like a light degreaser, and then start with weaker cleaning agents rather than going to like a lot of people like truck wash. Truck wash takes any goodness out of anything, and it usually uses you know, that white residue film it leaves, that it's stripped all the goodness out of anything. And the same thing when you clean the car. If it's polished and you use truck wash, you just took all the polish off the car.
Yeah.
So use the softest wash if you have to. Use
I use Baby Johnson shampoo.
Yeah,
That's what
I was
use
actually going to
on my
say
vehicle.
Morning Fresh.
I use Morning Fresh.
My father-in-law used to wash his car with Morning Fresh because you know when you wash a glass, it comes out with no watermarks in it.
Oh, so it's streakless.
You know.
Interesting. Look, I have done a video completely on how to wash your vehicle, and look, it's actually quite handy, and it's quite a popular video as well. So a lot of people want to know because some people actually throw a high pressure hose onto the car, but yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Sometimes warm soapy water.
Yeah.
Like if you need to get it because the warmth will start to dissolve, you know, like salt. I wanted to, after we went over the salt lakes.
Yeah, for every 10 degrees of temperature, it makes it easier to come off.
Yes, so you don't need the pressure, you don't need the harshness of cleaning products.
Do you go engine running or engine stopped when you
No, I had it
clean
turned off. And then,
You have it turned off?
Yeah, turned off. I mean, look...
I usually go engine running.
Yeah, look, lucky with a diesel, like if you clean, unfortunately, like if you've got something with spark plugs that have got the tube with spark plugs leads down there, and or distributor cap, oh yeah, it's the worst enemy. Like I'd say do it running, because as soon as you get that hint of something misfiring, you've gone too far with water.
Well, obviously don't direct water at the
electrical things.
electrical bits, so the distributor cap, the coil pack, and the leads basically.
The other one, which is, you know, your dustpan and brush, it's like quite a fluffy big head. Just lightly agitate around, you know, just broom it lightly where if you've got something stubborn, or like a bit of a toilet brush with it, if you have got something there, and then you're not using a pressure cleaner.
Yeah, true. Another thing as well, if you do have a battery that's gotten too hot, or like mine and dropped the cell, start leaking acid, you want to dilute that acid as soon as possible.
Look, it will take the paint off, it can take powder coat off as well, strip it to the bare metal, and then obviously you got a rust problem. You won't see it here, but underneath the battery tray it turns ugly really quickly.
And then I cop a tree right into my mirror. What's the other side look like?
It's fine. What are you doing now, Travs?
Filling it up with sand because there's a steel ball and a couple of screws inside. And when it hits the corrugations, I reckon it'll break the mirror.
Was that off your side or Wayne's side?
Wayne's side.
Wayne's side. Well, how's
Wayne's
that,
side.
Oh, I'll smash the glass, he loses his mirror.
Who was the craziest driver of them all?
Who?
Rhonda.
Oh, damn, it's me.
Mud grip.
Watch your fingers. Oh, tight squeeze. Let's make it look factory.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm not standing on that side. Alright. That looks looks custom, that is.
You know.
Just recording it. So we've done a good job.
Is that half of my roll there?
It's half your duct tape there. There we go. Now it's coming apart.
Actually, one thing I noticed when on tracks, your mirrors stayed out, but you've tightened your hinge bolts.
Oh, look
right
at that. Who put that there? That'd be Torben.
That's pretty late in the night.
Okay, that's what your mirror assembly looks like on the inside. So basically this glass is basically just glued onto the edge there. So what you can hear in here, oh, you got that smell? You getting that smell?
Is that you or the mirror?
No, it's the mirror.
Really?
Yeah, I think
It's the sand?
It's the adhesive and the sand. So
Actually, that's that bracket. Once you undo these screws
Yeah.
under here, that bracket lets go, and this ball,
and then yeah,
you're
you
buying
can't,
a new mirror.
you have to smash the glass to fix it up again. So in here, Torben, it's moist sand, that's why. Torben filled this up with sand because in here there's a loose bolt. This part here is loose inside it, so we're worried that corrugations, it'll rattle around and end up cracking his mirror. So Wayne, if you're watching, you can have your mirror back now. This glass might actually be worth keeping.
Actually, we did talk about putting perspex into it, because when it
perspex.
shattered, Amalia actually, you said,
Yeah, we got hit with glass.
you were
on the
lucky
inside.
you had
I
sunglasses on.
No, I didn't have. I had glasses on because
Yeah,
it's
because
night time.
you would have got glass.
Yeah.
Being glass, it would have shattered pretty quick and hard.
So how it is smashed, which I'm surprised at because I've hit so many trees with this right on there, hard as hell, hasn't even put a dent in here. It just, I think the vibration and the force just shot glass and it shot into the cab. There's still glass in there somewhere. And you might be saying, why do you drive your mirrors out if you're on tight tracks? Well, this is my measuring stick. So I know if I'm going to damage the vehicle, right? So when I drive down a track, I leave these out and they normally take a lot of punishment. I think that's, no, you can't even see the marks on it. I'm surprised.
I was surprised yours stay out, but I've got to tighten mine up.
Yeah, oh, these bits here?
Yeah. I forever put my window down or what have you, and because some of those tracks were getting tight.
I was also towing, so I needed the mirrors because there's often, if a tight corner, I have to reverse or something. So, yeah, let's get the new mirror on. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most handsome of all? Not me. Oh, you gripped it there.
Yeah, I was just spinning on the ball. I don't know if they Loctite it or...
Oh, I Loctite it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Mine, I'm ready to unbolt. I don't like the clear views, but I hate the left-hand mirror because someone walks past it and keeps adjusting it.
Yeah.
And this one I can handle. But
Oh, because he's sitting there.
what I don't want wings on my car, so I don't want the clear views.
Okay.
I reckon it affects your fuel economy.
Oh, the fuel,
It
yeah.
has to. It's out this far,
Yeah, I know.
and it's
And it's massive.
big.
It's twice as big as that.
could put signage on
2.5
it.
times.
Use it for a max track to get bogged.
Look, I'm sure that, the mirrors are pretty good from Clearview, but this is, I wouldn't use them. Torben loves them.
Well, no, he pulled his in all the time unless we're really in the open area.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Because he said if it whacks, he
he had
does-
smashed glass
yeah.
on his.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So the thing is, I smashed this Toyota mirror. Yes, it's not as great as a Clearview when it comes to vision, but I prefer the agricultural look of the Toyota. That's why I have a 70 series. But also, if this smashes, it's easier to fix, and those Clearviews, they're quite expensive, aren't they?
yeah,
Let's not talk price, but they're quite
yeah,
expensive.
no, they are, yeah.
This here was like about $100.
I mean, look, I back a lot of cars on the dyno.
Bit less than $100.
My pet hate is this. I can see the wheel. I can't get a clear view that can see the wheel.
These are all the tools that you brought with you on this trip. Someone asked the question, what tools did Travs bring, being a mechanic? Thinks a little bit different than what the rest of us do because you got specific tools for specific vehicles, and I see you got a mirror and stuff. So let's just go through, crash through it first, and then we'll talk about what was used most. Get a notebook out and write this down.
First of all, I knew obviously you're going to come with new leaves, and I wasn't sure if we had deep sockets to tension up. We all checked our wheel nuts and whatever, so that gives that a decent bar. So you've got leverage. Wheel bearing hub socket, fits all Land Cruisers. Being mindful, obviously, the trip we were doing, we had 4 cars the same. So it was reasonably easy to cater for that trip. So obviously that's for your front wheel bearings. Multi-grips, pliers, little snippers, they're good for zip ties. 3/8, they're semi-deep sockets there as well.
Keep in mind though, you were aware that we all had general tools.
Yeah, so.
But yeah.
I didn't bring the ratchet. I didn't have any, the boys had that. I was thinking they would just generally have the normal shallow sockets.
Yeah.
So I thought, hang on, I'll bring the deep. Multimeter, look, it's not an expensive brand name or anything. I think it was $10, $16, just give you an indication what's going on, flat battery, what have you. Check fuses. Some like hand cleaner that is good for if you're working on something greasy. It will actually get grease and grime off your hands. Some brake cleaner, some RTV sealer, which we did use.
We use this to clean a poly tank and this to try and seal it.
Yeah, that's solvent based or air dries. Allen keys, I had them to adjust my spotlights. They're a little bit niche, the angles of them. This is probably one of my favourite things I use.
We use that heaps actually.
Yeah, it's got a magnet here. 2 magnets there, is bendy. There's a light here and a pencil light. We use that every day at work.
Yeah.
I've actually got...
We use it every day camping.
I've got one in the
every night
car.
camping.
I've got one in my car. I've got one at home. 12-volt charger. Hey, look.
That's the thing I want to point out. It's rechargeable. So this is rechargeable, so you don't have to rely on batteries.
Zip ties. We did have the heavier duty ones, but we used a few of them. Actually, oh yeah, there you go. Got them there. Normal insulation tape. Duct tape as well with a cloth in it. I am a fan of that. It is really good, sticks well. Actually saved me my sand flag.
You don't need a knife to cut strips. You can tear it.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing about cloth tape.
Actually, you had the duct tape, and I had the I don't know what you call it, 100
cloth.
mile, cloth or
Cloth
100 mile hour sort of tape.
And we used a whole lot.
Yeah.
We did muck around.
I'd roll a double side tape if I wanted to mount something, stick something down or what have you. Yeah. My knife from work I use, it's just a standard Stanley blade. I actually kept that in the driver's door pocket. I didn't have a pocket knife or a knife I commonly use. It folds up, it's safe, it's got a clip on there.
Yeah.
Spanners.
And if the blade goes blunt, you can spin it around.
Spin it around, it's double-edged blade. Little wire brush, telescopic mirror, magnet, sorry. That's mainly if obviously if you need to do a thread or something.
Did we use this for something,
actually,
didn't we?
I thought we did.
We used this for something.
I can't remember what we were doing.
No.
Oh, actually, we were going to try and do it on the water tank to sort of etch the surface,
yeah,
maybe.
that's right. And we did do that bit. Yeah.
Telescopic mirror if you need to look at something. Another small little light, just a handy little pocket light. Normally lives in the roof console.
I didn't see that one used.
And then just screwdrivers. Look, the other guys had screwdrivers as well. One thing I did bring is 2 lengths of fuel hose that are suitable for both cars. Look, the reason I've had there are just offcuts.
Yeah, why 2 lengths?
Because it's a marine boat primer valve. So obviously
for siphoning or?
Siphoning or change something, I had the jerry cans in the back. I was like, I can just hook it up, start the siphon and
so you just put it on your tray and it runs in?
Yeah, because now we had to gin around and stand there and it was slow and the breather was a bit ordinary.
That's a cool idea.
And obviously if I need fuel hose, I've got it. And then obviously a little bit of a...
the mixed bag?
Yeah, mixed bag of
There's
lollies.
that terminal, the battery J-hook you were talking about?
Yeah, so...
Can we put them all out here?
Yeah, that's what I bought it. So that's a J-hook for your battery tie down. Spare relay, I bought a 40 ampere, so it's big enough to do light bars or anything like that.
That was for the other boys' cars because we don't use relays anymore.
Yes. An array of nuts and bolts there.
Wayne used one of these.
Yeah, he had a
mini
tail
fuse.
lights,
Yeah.
tail light fuses blown.
Yeah, he was driving around with tail lights.
That's pretty good
Without
actually,
tail
because
lights
we made him go at the back because no one could see him.
Yeah.
So it was,
Especially with the dust.
yeah, it was pretty chronic.
Wayne, dangerous mate.
Yeah. So some MIDI fuses, obviously it's all relative to the stuff we do here, on top of having the blade fuses. The only thing I didn't take,
pins. That's interesting.
yes, cotter pins, if you need to do something with suspension. Yeah, they don't take up much weight. These little things here, they're joiners, heat shrink joiners.
That's to get out quick.
Yeah, some spades. I mean, I could probably change it up a little bit. Look, I knew everything.
We use a nut and a bolt in my window when we repaired the window.
It's still got a sun plug washer as a spacer because I used
Oh,
one of
that's
them, and we used all the washers we could find.
We did.
So, and that Salt Lake.
But half of that came out of my box as well, though.
Yeah, so it was good.
It's a good combination.
Yeah, and they're just some EFI hose clamps as well. We had them generally if you want them with a fuel hose or what have you. Actually, there's your bolt out of your window.
Oh yeah, that's
I kept it. I think is that the one that's stripped?
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, it's had its day.
Souvenir. Yeah, but we all had stuff.
Yeah,
so keep in mind, this is the kit that Travs brought with him, knowing what we had.
Yeah.
So there was some things we didn't
I mean,
have.
I packed all this into a bag that would have been like that by that. Way
So there you go. Ask the question. There's the answer. What will actually be cool is maybe another time when we're on a trip, all 4 of us on the same trip again, pull all the tools out
everyone's different
and
and
lay it
see.
down and then see
and
what
then
we'll have.
One thing I would actually really say there, okay, you guys have done how many trips? What haven't you used? Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's a
and
good
change
idea,
it because
actually.
hang on, my car's changed. I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
I've actually been hauling it for, the last 80,000 k's in my car, and
That's
I
actually a
haven't
good
used
idea.
it. There's stuff I bought, and I went.
Travs is just coming back from a test drive now. I'm actually going to put him on a spot and ask him how it drives because he hasn't driven the vehicle since I got the new suspension in it and some of the other things. So I'll bail him up. So what do you reckon about the drive?
I wish I had to drive it when we're off-road, but it's a different car. Like, wow. Like,
Just from that short drive?
how you said to me how it drives is exactly how you, just the sun's being nice, just exactly how you explained it is how the car drives. It's got that bit of movement, but it's so much more control. Before I felt it was very leany. It didn't get control.
Okay.
Chopping wheels wise. It just feels nicer to drive.
It'd be good for you to drive it on a highway because I find it I found it slightly
High
boaty
speed.
on the highway, but I got used to it. I stopped fighting the steering wheel.
Yeah, I can see that. It does drive and have that little bit of different characteristics, but I actually find it's like we knocked off 60, 70,000 k's off the odometer or something, like it drives.
Okay. I'd like to hear that.
It drives nicer, like.
We wind the clock back then or what?
Yeah, you can. I mean, look, the clutch is what I'm used to. It's a lighter pedal, whereas you had that noise.
Well, I was just talking about the clutch while you're away, and I'll get your thoughts on this. Just shut it off so we can. So my take on the clutch, and then see if you agree. To start with, I didn't like it because it was so light.
Yes. Yep.
But now that I'm used to it, I actually
That's-
like it because it's not like it doesn't. The old clutch bit. This one here, you
can use it.
You can play a bit more with, but I think also being able to play with it more. If you're one of those people that plays with the clutch too much, that could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you rest your foot on the clutch, you don't really, but you shouldn't be.
Yeah, you should just neutral if you park
So
up.
obviously it's not foolproof, but I like it better than before. It's smoother. There's no rollover noise.
I suppose as well, it's like getting a new car. You get in it and you're like, boom, and you stall it.
Yeah.
Some customers get in it and they're not used to it and they stall it first time, but once they've driven it for a week, they do say as well, we bet it in for 1,000 k's, which I was a bit,
It's been 5,000 guys.
yeah. But did you notice the difference from when you first picked it up to now? Like it feels different.
Nah, I don't think it feels
So,
different.
that's what I find. Sometimes it can be a little bit nippy when
Yeah.
they're new. Just the clutch will bed in.
That's
but
what
they're much
that's
nicer.
what Wayne warned me about, but that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah,
To
okay.
me, it feels like when I drove it out when you put the clutch in.
Yep. That's fine.
And I've been waiting for that. He said, "Oh, well, wait," but yeah.
Mine took about 5,000 k's. But see, some people expect to put the clutch in and change gear really quick. So,
Yeah, okay.
where
Well, I
some
suppose it
people
comes
put
down-
it in and change gear, then it's fine.
Comes
you know?
down to the individual, perhaps. As
Correct,
well.
and how you drive the car. I mean, as well, you might be one of those people that put your foot all the way down the clutch.
Yeah.
Some people sort of don't put their clutch all the way in.
Yeah.
So that's just learning how to drive. But I love how it drives. I'm impressed.
In terms of the PDM, I'm going to have to be honest and say that this is a bit of a biased point of view because I have been involved in the development of it, and but from what we tested, that worked brilliantly, and there are some new things that we're going to test next time.
Yeah.
I can't not be biased about this because of being part of the development as well. But where all the lights are now, that's the best light setup that I've had to date. Flicking through the lights to start with, but you get used to it. You
knowing
just
how
got to
the function
learn the
works, yeah.
function. So what I'm trying to say is I've got roof lights and I've got front lights. So one press is the front lights on the bar, second press is front lights off, roof lights on, third press both on.
Yeah, that's for the LED light function.
yeah.
HID is just straight on, but
Yeah.
we actually added that in, especially for you with your request because you wanted that.
Yeah.
The light bars, which we hadn't done.
Yeah,
my
well,
car doesn't have it.
That was
Your
one of
car
my
does have
inputs.
it,
Yeah.
So my car's getting it now.
Yeah.
So
And we played around with those front lights there, and I've got them to a spot where I like them now.
Yeah.
Because you thought I'd want them down, but I've
Yeah.
actually almost got them turned all the way up. Because
It's interesting.
these ones here. So they were there, they work better there.
The only thing we haven't sorted
Is the handbrake.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, but I've got a whole brake kit we've got to put in.
Yeah,
But we'll do it.
I think, yeah, we're going to have to look. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've had the short time I've had mine. The handbrake is one of those things.
Well, really, I want that thing on the drive shaft.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. The
Yeah.
Marks adapters. There's no. I've seen different options. I've tried different things. We've tried different things on your car.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
doesn't last.
Marks adapters or the ARB fuel tank I'm looking at buying.
Yeah.
So, going to weigh those up. Why do I need another fuel tank? Because I want to cut out one of my auxiliary fuels and make it into water. But that'll be in another video. If I go ahead with it, not sure yet. But I'm going to do a bit of a shower build in the back. More on that later. So, thanks for watching. Any questions, put them down below. And look, any suggestions for anything you want to see more of, just put them in the comments below and we'll see what we can do. There is a dual battery video that we still got to do. I think we're both doing research on that. I'm sort of looking at more like the practical side and
bring all the pros and cons.
the technical side. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Subscribe somewhere here. Support creation at patreon.com/RonnieDale, and I'll see you next time. Check out the video down there or over there. I'm not sure where it is. Somewhere on the screen. See ya.